Hi everyone, you are welcome back to my channel. This is Terminus. If this is your first time on my channel, please take your time, subscribe, click on the like button so that you can get updated as I release new video. So this is a sequel to my last update, walking through TRYHACKME junior penetration pathway. And the reason why I'm doing this is I've decided to document all of my study hours whenever I'm doing my study. I'll document them, do the answers, talk about all of those strategies, the way I understand them, and if I'm able to take them advanced, I do that. But I know this is a walkthrough through TRYHACKME. I'm on the Metasploit introduction now. I'm walking through junior penetration module part, like it's a part, we have it in parts. Okay, so we're starting with a Metasploit introduction. So the first thing to do here is, and the beautiful thing is, this room is free, so anybody can walk through this room. It's only those rooms that are premium or that needs you to subscribe. Okay, yeah, subscribe. The payment, I remember the payment I made here was just $90. So, and I have access to everything. Even when I get to the rooms that need me to be a subscriber before, I can walk my way through it. So we're kickstarting. The first thing you do is to start the machine and start the attack box. The attack box is like a virtual is a virtual Kali Linux. I have a virtual machine that is localized on my system, which is this. I'll be using this for this demonstration also because Metasploit is a framework that come by default. I come default with your Kali Linux. So I have Kali Linux, I have a virtual machine. Virtual machine is just like an environment where you run your they have different type of OS you want to run. So enough of the introduction, and let's get into the D. So the attack box has not started. Let me start it again. Okay. Okay, I will get my IP address here very soon. So okay, my attack box is starting. So let's just run through the introduction. So I won't be doing much of reading of the materials. I've just discussed the important thing there. So if you need to read them, you can just go to TRYHACKME and you have free access to the website. And if you want to register, please you can use my referral code that will be attached to this video. Please, that will just support me to give you more content. And please, if this is your first time on this channel, take your time to subscribe, hit the like button, make the algorithm scream so that other people can have access to this material also. And as time goes on, I'll be including some other external material, but this will be a separate video, separate part playlist. But this is just for TRYHACKME. All of everything I'll be doing on TRYHACKME, henceforth my study hours. Maybe I'm doing CTF, which is catch the flag. All of it, I'm going to be documenting it. So, sorry, I said not going to be taking. I'm not going to take too much time for the introduction, but I think I've done that. But I'm very sorry for that. So let's kickstart. So they said that Metasploit is the most widely used exploitation framework. It's very powerful. It's used for creating and working with payload, using you have different kind of modules that you can work with while using your Metasploit. So Metasploit, we have two versions of it: the industrial one, and we have Metasploit that is open source, which is the one you use with your command, using your command and your CLI. So the Metasploit framework is an open source version, so we use it on the CLI command line. So the Metasploit framework is a setup to that large. Okay, majorly used for information gathering, scanning, exploitation, and exploit development, as well as post exploitation and every other thing you can. So, but as we progress, you see all of what can be done with Metasploit. Is a very powerful framework. So, the major component of this very powerful framework is MSF console. It is the main terminal through which we interact with Metasploit framework. We have the modules. Modules are the different options of payload, and all the capability that you can think of that we can use on Metasploit. The modules are specially okay. I'll call them special packaged configuration settings or code written to do particular functions. So we have exploit, scanner, and payload. Payload are purely virus. Exploitation are those things that takes you. I think we're going to talk more about that. So we have other tools, standalone tools that you can use or integrate with Metasploit. So take your time to read them. So this room will cover the main component of Metasploit while providing you with a solid foundation on how to find relevant exploits, set parameters. Parameter itself is all of those things we do inside the framework, which are the options you have, which are the functions. So we don't need to do much here. Answer question one. This question is done. So let's go to the main component of Metasploit. So here it said while using the Metasploit framework, you will primarily interact with the Metasploit console. Okay, you can launch it through. Okay, now first of all, what we're going to do is how do we interact with Metasploit? And interacting with Metasploit requires you to the first command you enter is MSF console. So it takes you into that framework, then you can interact and use Metasploit. So I'm going to exhibit that now. I'm going to do that now. So let me open my terminal. So here it just said MSF console. You run this. Okay, they said this copy of Metasploit framework is more than 2 weeks old. Consider running. Yeah. So to do this, let me just say Control C, come back. Then I use MSF update. Update. So let it do its thing. So that's the first command you enter to get your to interact for. But for now, I'm just updating it. So they said the modules are small components within the Metasploit framework that are built to perform a specific task, such as exploiting the vulnerability, scanning a target, just like I've said before, brute forcing an attack, even scanning. So before diving into the module, it will be helpful to clarify a few recurring concepts. The major important concepts we're going to see. Most of these you cannot escape them as a cybersecurity professional because you come across them. You see exploitation, vulnerability, and payload. Exploit, a piece of code that uses vulnerability present in a particular machine. So in a simple term, exploit gets you into the machine. So all of what you'll be doing after exploitation, like doing code, sending code, executing code, they are payloads. While vulnerability itself is the misconfiguration, design, or flaw or logic in a particular machine. It could be as a result of the manufacturer or as the user itself. Maybe they did misconfiguration while they were using the system. So let's proceed. Modules. Now we're talking about the categories of modules. We have auxiliary. You can read more about them. Any supporting module such as scanner, crawler, fuzzer, majorly used for brute forcing. Okay, now checking them out. Just like I would like to demonstrate most of what we have here. Now, for you to do the same thing as we have here, so you just change your working directory to this part. So the first thing we're doing is let's check what directory are we now. Print working directory. So now I'm root. And if we want to move to this, we do cd, which is change directory /ops. It's just me just typing this out. Metasploit. Metasploit -framework /embedded /framework. Then we have modules. Okay, now if you notice, I'm in this directory now. So now let's check. Let's build the tree, which is this line of code. So we do tree -l1, then we have auxiliary. So that means the module we are trying to look at now is the auxiliary. Okay, and we have done the same. So we've replicated what they did here. So another one is encoder. Encoder basically is just for you to obfuscate or write your code in such a way that it cannot be detected by antivirus. So you can take your time to read this, and we can use similar pattern as what we just did here to create the tree for what we have in that module that is for encoders to pick out the encoders in that particular module. So another thing is, if as we like we have now, I can just do ls to list everything I have in this module. Look at it here. These are what I have in the module, and you can take your time to read what you have as a readme here. It always gives more information about whatever you have in a particular directory, depending on those who created it or what they put there, and so on like that. But mostly, most of the applications that you'll be using, we have a readme that guides you. So I can do cards. Let's read what they have in the readme.md, which is md. Okay, now this is the folder where all of Metasploit's modules live. Okay, where the modules live. These modules are scripts in Ruby that interface with Metasploit itself to perform some specific tasks. There are various type of modules. Okay, you can just read all of this. I can't. So another module that we have is an evasion, majorly designed to similar to encoded, just to evade the antivirus. You can take your time to read this exploit. So, and if you want to access it just the way we have accessed the other one, we can do the same thing we have done before. We're already in the module, that part. Then just type this out and you get exactly what we have here. So exploits neatly organized by target. Exploit is one of the most important module here because that is what conveys your taking into that particular system you want to attack before you now start dropping your payload and doing whatever you want to do in the targets. So you can check it just the way we have done before. No, that's no operation. They do nothing. They're just like a buffer. They added them up after creating a payload just to make the size. If you read it, you get. Now they said no, okay. Said nope, which is no operation, do nothing. Literally, they are they are represented in the Intel x86 CPU family. They are represented with OX90, following which the CPU will do nothing for one cycle. They are often used as a buffer to achieve consistent payload size. So, payloads are code that we run on the target system. Like I've said, exploit will leverage a vulnerability on the target, but to achieve the desired result, we need a payload. Example could be getting a shell, loading a malware or backdoor to the target system, running a command, or launching CAC, which is calculated.exe, as a proof of concept to add to the penetration testing report. Starting the calculator on the target system remotely by launching the calculator application is a benign way to show that we can run commands on the target machine. So payload is just gives you the access to do whatever you want to do in that machine after you've gotten there. So you will see 4 different directories on that payload: adapters, singles, stagers, and stages. So basically, these are the 4 things you see inside the payload. So basically, if we had created, let's see if we can create the same thing for payload. If we did this with payload, just like I've done with the rest. Okay, payload, this is going to, okay, it has to be payloads. Okay, this is it. Exactly the same thing they are talking about. So you can read about adapters. Adapters are just a way of wrapping a particular set of a payload into another format. Okay, an adapter wraps single payload to convert them into different formats. For example, a normal single payload can be wrapped inside a PowerShell adapter, which will make a single PowerShell command that will execute the payload. So creates a singular PowerShell. I think what this means is after developing the payload, all of the code of the payload is stringed into just a single line of PowerShell that runs on PowerShell and runs the whole of the code. So single self-contained payload, hard user launch notepad that do not need to download an additional component to run. So such single payload, I think single payload should be more heavier than stages because with stages, after creating the payload itself is going to create a stager that will now call back at the local machine, the attacker's machine, and download the rest of the payload. So just read about them. So Metasploit has a subtle way to help you identify single, also called inline. Single code means they have everything. So I actually call them, like from the lesson I have with Think Cyber, we call them stageless because once you have an underscore, shell underscore, this result reverse TCP, this underscore is what indicates is a stageless payload. And when you have something like this, it means it's a staged payload. So now they said both are reverse window shell. The former is an inline, which is single payload. That's a stageless. That means it has everything, as indicated by the underscore between shell and reverse, while the later is staged payload, as it is indicated by the slash. That's the forward slash. Okay, now they said post. Post modules will be useful on the final stage of the penetration testing process listed below. So post is after you've gotten into the machine and you want to be doing your post exploit and stuff like that. So if you wish to familiarize yourself further with this module, you can find them under the modules folder of your Metasploit installation for the just like what you've done before. He said, what is the name of the code taking advantage of flaws on the target machine? So let's do this so that we can see. Let me clear all of my progress here so that we can redo this reset progress. Okay, let me start with this first. Okay. Okay, I'm restarting the progress so that so if I should click on this is done so that we can do it in real time. So we've done this. Let's just answer the question. The first question is, what is the name of the code taking advantage of a flaw on the target machine? This is exploits that do that. Exploit. So what is the name of the code that runs on the target system to achieve the attacker's goal? That is the payload. That's what payload does. That's what payload does. So what are self-contained? They carry everything. They are singles. And they can be called stageless. Singles is dash dash among single or staged payload. If we look at this now, because of the underscore we have here between ping back and reverse there, it shows that it's singles. So we are done with this. Let's proceed. I'm going to MSF console. So here in MSF console, as previously mentioned, the console will be your main interface to the Metasploit framework. You can launch it using the MSF console command on your attack box terminal or any system the Metasploit framework is. So I can either do it here. So let me come back to, I was updating it initially. I think that should have been done now. Let me close this. So for we to interface with Metasploit, we run MSF. MSF console is what gives us access. MSF console. Okay, and this is going to open up MSF console framework through which we can interact with Metasploit. MSF, that's a terminal through which we can interface with MFS with Metasploit. So we're already there now. See, that's the first thing we asked us to launch it, and we have launched it. I've launched it. So let's go. Once launched, you will see the command line. This changed to MSF6, which is this. Yeah, I think they said it talks about version depending on the installed version of the Metasploit. Okay, we go down, They say the first command is ls. This ls can be run on a normal command. So what they're trying to say is on the Metasploit, on the Metasploit, you can run some common commands that you can run basically on your CLI. So even while you are here, that we have added functionality because we are working within the framework of Metasploit. We can still run basic command ls is still going to, okay, let me say ls. So ls is still going to give me this the list of what I have on my desktop, but the difference is, you see, it's showing that I execute ls. So let me call back this one. Okay, so with this now, since I've done everything I want to do with the module, I can just say cd and it takes me back to the root directory. If we check p as in print working directory, you see that we are root now. Please remember that this is the second terminal I opened the other time to just go through the modules and create those trees. So now what we can do is let me run ls again. You see the same the same thing I had here when I was inside the Metasploit framework is what I got outside. I just want to clarify that. So the content of the folder listed, the content of the folder from which Metasploit was launched using the MSF console command. So it is followed by a ping sent to Google DNS IP address. This as we operate from the attack box, which is Linux. Which is Linux. We had to add this line of code. Okay, I'm going to explain this when we are done now. I said it is followed by a ping. Okay, they are just saying we should use a ping. We can try a ping here and we'll see how it works. So this command, you use it with your ping. It means just do one count of print. One count of the ping itself is what's going to print. I'm going to demonstrate that. So option. So let me just read it from here. Okay, as we operate from the attack post, which is Linux, we had to add the 1C, there's a count one option. So only a single ping was sent. Otherwise, the ping process would continue until we use Ctrl C to stop it. So what they're saying basically is, if I say ping, if I should ping Google DNS, which IP is 8888. If I should ping it ordinarily without putting, I'm going to show it -C, then 1. Oh, sorry, I did not complete it. I already removed the G there, ping. So if we run this, so okay, now it pinged it once and gave us just one result, which is this is what we got. So let me do it on the second terminal. So let me clear first. This is to clear my terminal. So I can do ping -C 1 8 8 8 8. So it gives us the same thing. So but if I ping ordinarily without this flag, you will notice that it's going to be a recurring ping. It's going to be continuous until I stop it myself. So I can do this. So you see it continues pinging. What pings does is just for you to know, to check if that server is live, if that server is online. Is he online? Can I really talk to? It's just a way of, it's one of those things that Nmap does to check if a particular target or host is online. So I can use Ctrl C to stop it. That's what they were talking about. Then clear the screen again. Let me go back to the terminal I'm using. So I've been able to demonstrate this. So it will support most Linux commands. They're still talking about the commands in major Linux. using it inside the Metasploit framework. If I do clear, it works. While on the subject, the help command can be used on its own or for specific command. Below is the help menu for the send command we will soon. Okay, now while you are inside the Metasploit framework, we can use help with any command that we know here to look at how it functions. But first of all, let's use help, just help alone, so that we can see of um, all of the commands we can use here. And so for each command, if you want to now see help for each command, okay, let me pick this command, show, and I can say show hyphen, okay, show hyphen help. Okay, okay, let me do help, then show. Okay, valid parameter for the show all encoder no. Okay, I'm coming. Let me clear this. How do I do this? Show help, show help. Okay, show hyphen, then just an H. Valid parameter for show commands are all encoder. Okay, that was correct. That was it shows these are it's showing us the help for the for the show. Let me see if it's the same thing with when I use show hyphen help. Okay, that's an invalid. So let's clear this. So let's come back to now help test, no such command. Okay, now they said while on this, so let's try this first. We have help and set is part of the commands we have. Okay, I think this is the syntax. Let me now do it for the show that I did the other time. Okay, that was correct also. So that means we can either do it this way or do it this way, like say show hyphen h. Then it gives us this clear. So let me do it for set that we have here. We have help set. Let's see what we have done. Let's do set hyphen h. Okay, set hyphen help. Okay, it doesn't work that way. I think that's the only way it works. So that's a great thing about. Let's make the mistake together, and so we don't make it again. So help and show. This is how it should work. Help and set. So it gives us the option that we can use C clear. So that means so global operation on global data store variables help. But it's showing us that we can actually do this way. Like if we have set hyphen help. I don't know why it's not. Okay. As time goes on, we'll see. So you can use the history command. So when you use the history command, what it does is all of your recent commands that you've entered, you can visualize it. History. So these are the commands I've run today. So sometimes you can even use this to do the analysis of which command do you use the most. Some of these days I'm going to do that. Okay, I can do, I don't know, let me see if it's going to work. So for me to know the command I use the most, I can do help. Okay, history. I'll grep it. No, history we sort. I don't know if it's going to work. We sort, we do unique and count so that we can. Okay, it did not work here. So let me do the same thing I did here now. Let me say I do history here. Okay, this is what we have. I can do history. I want to see this work here. History. Uh, Sort. Okay, maybe is it the number that is affecting it? History sort. Uh, let's do